Greetings from Pandora. Welcome to A Vault Hunter's Guide to the Borderlands, the best Borderlands podcast on the EchoNet. I'm Drew.
I'm Jeff.
Thanks for joining us today for episode number 30, where today we're going to be ranking the bosses in Borderlands 2. But first, just a quick reminder, you can always get in contact with us via Twitter at VaultHuntersPod, through our email, avaulthuntersguide@gmail.com, and you can watch us record the podcast live at twitch.tv/avaulthuntersguide, and also, we're back on YouTube. Just search up Vault Hunter's Guide.
Say what?
Don't mind that 18 episode gap between 11 and 29. It was we had creative differences with the editor of the videos.
Blame the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. But even when I go to your page, they're missing all of them.
It's like, blame the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah. They were demonetized for nudity, so we took them down.
Yeah. Not NUDITY, mind you. NEW space DIDDY. Nudities.
for nudities. Just too many nudities.
So many nudities.
They're like, people can't handle all of it. So demonetized.
I gotta demonetize you guys doing a nudity. Amazing.
Wow. Phenomenal. Anyways, this week is like we said, we're in between right now. Guardian Takedown was out last week, as of this recording, and the date of this release is going to be a week. No, actually, this episode's going to release on the day of Bounty of Blood releasing. So the next episode will be our review of that.
And it'll be a thing, we promise.
It'll be a good one.
So
it'll be a good one.
Yeah, because we've got something going on for that. I'm not sure. Do we want to reveal that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Drum up some excitement for it.
Literally drum up some excitement. Anyway.
Nice.
So obviously both of us have been, and our families have been practicing social distancing heavily, which is great because that's something I was doing beforehand anyway, just because I don't like people much. And so we actually have something going on. So next episode, when we are actually talking about the new DLC, we will actually be in the same location. Specifically, my house. In the middle of the street.
Our house. All right, that's it. That's all you get.
Yep.
Less than 30 seconds is what you're allowed. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So, my wife, we're making the drive out to wherever Jeff lives.
Mm-hmm.
Snohomish, Washington.
Clearly. Also, Washington always has the best names for places.
Oh yeah.
I just recently learned, do you know there's a place in Washington called Tukwila?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Tukwila and Walla Walla and Snohomish and
Snoqualmie Pass.
Snoqualmie Pass, yeah.
Yep.
If you're wondering how we know so much about Washington, it's pretty freaking arbitrary.
So, yeah, we're looking forward to, you know what? Actually, also, I'm going to look this up live and on the air right now. Jeff, you talk.
Okay.
Talk about things and stuff. How was your last 2 weeks in the Borderlands? Wait.
No. And I've actually been doing quite a bit more than I was. Having some of the buffs and the changes that they've had in the most recent patch that went along with the Guardian Takedown has gone really well. They actually did make changes to the Guardian Takedown, and they were great. They were definitely needed. There is still a challenge there without it feeling super dumb and repetitive and just bullet spongy, so I'm excited about that. Incidentally, I probably will also be playing more Borderlands though, because I did actually finish my completionist run of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, so which was really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I would say that if you're someone that's a fan of something like Dark Souls or Bloodborne, or even God of War, the new God of War, you would probably also like this one, just for what it's worth. So it's kind of like baby's first Dark Souls type scenario. So get in on that.
Oh, I should totally play it then.
You definitely should. So,
All right, cool.
anyway, I mean, you kind of have to be when you think about it. Like, and no, we're not making this a Fallen Order, thing all of a sudden, but it's just one of those things where, like, if you're going to have the mass appeal that Star Wars does, you can't have it be overly hard. So,
yeah, that makes sense. That's understandable.
Right. Anyway, so what were you checking into, though?
Yeah, so I checked it out, and I knew we were close, but we've actually hit 50,000 total downloads at this point.
Woo! Thank you, everybody.
So maybe on the next episode, we could also do like, maybe we could do like extra Twitch time, and we could like take live questions from chat or something.
Yeah, something that won't be happening on something that won't be recorded most likely, but we could be in there anyway. So we'll figure it out.
I mean, I want to figure out something a little extra cool for 50K downloads. Yeah,
we appreciate everyone that's done that. We've seen that there have been people just all over the world that listen to us, which is still blows my mind.
Except Iceland.
Ain't nobody care about Iceland.
Yeah. Fuck you, Reykjavik.
Wow, harsh.
Oh, Reykjavik, you fucking
wow,
Nancy.
Harsh. And whatever the name of that volcano they had, that was, the one.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, no, that's and that's how my last 2 weeks in the Borderlands have been.
Talked about Jedi Fallen Order in Iceland.
All right.
Yeah.
So what about you?
I've mainly just been doing a lot of farming shit over again, kind of adjusting builds and stuff. I'm using 3-shot flak from that Thick Fillet put up. Check out that video. That build is sick.
It really is.
It was a great way to balance of having the benefits of fadeaway and being able to use like Gorillas in the Mist and stuff for bossing, but then you can just like swap out your action skill augments for mobbing and just get action skill and procs like all the fucking time. It's awesome. So
all day.
Yeah, and it's just it's way more useful than Rack Attack is. So I've been refarming like, action skill and blah 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 shit. Mainly Katagawa Jr. and Sandhawks right now. Something else I did the other day though was I fired up the old PS4 because I've been playing on PC mostly since I got it on PC.
Yeah.
Better frame rates, yada yada. So, but when I fired it up on PS4 the other day, I realized that like I don't know how I did this, but like I apparently haven't played it since Mayhem 2.0 came out because all of my gear was all like level 57, but like no Mayhem level.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh god. So I like started farming that stuff over again, which was actually kind of easy because you just like, I killed Gigamine on Mayhem 2 like it was nothing. Got Gigamine to drop a Hellshock, and then killed Gigamine on Mayhem 6 with that Mayhem 2 Hellshock. And then
got a Mayhem 6 Hellshock.
Got a Mayhem 6 Hellshock and an action skill and Flood with incendiary damage on it. And I have a bunch of other stuff with action skill and incendiary shit on it. So like 1 magazine of shock damage to Gigamine and then swap to the Flood and like 2 magazines of the Flood with action skill and shit, and Gigamine's done. So I was like, but I was actually really kind of enjoying it because I didn't have to farm stuff like this when I started doing the Mayhem stuff on PC, because I just managed to get like a sick ass Mayhem 6 yellow cake off of my standard gear and then just farm the fuck out of Joey Ultraviolet and his minions with Mayhem 6 yellow cake.
Yeah, yep.
And then and then Katagawa Jr., one-shotting him with the 300 over 90, the old 300 over 90 Mayhem 6 yellow cake. So it was just, I was able to just skip all the in-between shit.
Yeah.
So, but I'm actually so now I'm like, as I was having a lot of fun, but the load times take way too long compared to, the SSD on my PC.
Right.
So I think I'm actually going to make another, like I'm either going to go back and do it the right way with Zane and shit like that, or just like make a copy of my file and then delete everything and just kind of go from there.
Double your gear and everything.
Yeah, and do kind of like what that challenge was that Moxie had, where it was like, you start at Mayhem, or you start at max level, and then you have no gear, and you just have to like go all the way, farm your way to Mayhem 10 and then do the takedown on it. Like, I think that's a really cool idea, and like I wasn't into that idea before, but now that I kind of did a light version of it, like I'm down for that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Is that like a one life type situation as well then?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a one life. I don't remember that, but like I don't really give a shit about the one life part. I just want to like have a max level character that I fuck with,
Sure. No,
just
that makes
like,
sense.
But like I don't like, because farming is a really good time, but like now with my main flak on PC, I'm down to the nitty gritty where I'm looking for very specific items,
Uh-oh.
And oh man, I totally lost Jeff there for a second. That was wild. I just totally lost you there for a second.
Yeah, like you DC'd. Like
oh, weird. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, like, I don't know if it's a one life. I just wanna farm shit again, and like that was the cool thing about like doing that stuff on PS4 was like I was like, oh shit, like you get excited about almost any legendary again,
Yeah.
Whereas now, like with my main flak on PC, I'm like, oh, it's a Sandhawk. Oh, not the right anointment. Okay, do it again,
Yeah.
But like, so I think I'm gonna do that again, and we'll see where it goes. Goes.
And I have faith that that's going to turn around again. At some point, we'll get back to that point, but we'll see what happens. So
yeah.
Anyway, we should probably get into our actual topic, because we have a fair little amount to catch up on here. So
yeah.
All right. So going into this, we wanted to go ahead and first of all, for anyone that has listened to some of our older stuff, we did one of these before with Borderlands 1. It's the same thing for Borderlands 2. And we just went through and ranked all the bosses. And basically, we had to kind of trim some of the fat, so to speak, in the Borderlands 2 version, just because there's so many enemies that could be considered bosses. The main biggest thing to us was whether or not they had some sort of something that could be farmable, more or less. Some of them even have things like, chests or whatever, things like that. So that was kind of the big thing. Another big thing was whether or not they had splash screens. Again, not every boss in here will have a splash screen, but pretty close to it. It's kind of arbitrary, but for people that have played Borderlands 2, you kind of know which enemies are quote unquote the bosses and which ones are not. So
yeah, I mean, like, it's going to be interesting to see what we do with Borderlands 3, but like with Borderlands 2, like if you couldn't farm them, they were out.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it's not, so...
That's not a boss.
Yeah, it's not a boss. It's if you can't farm it, it's not a boss, it doesn't count. The last time we did this, by the way, was actually nearly a year ago, July 25th, episode 7. July 25th, 2019. Jeff, you remember 2019, like 10 years ago?
Yeah, really.
So, yeah, episode 7, the big Borderlands boss breakdown. This is part 2 of that series, basically, where we're doing... But, like, we expanded this to at least include DLCs and stuff, because of our criteria, essentially.
Yeah. So the nice thing is that the rating system is still the same. I know that we always joke about on a scale of, whatever to 7, that's kind of how we do things on a scale of 1 to 7. But our rating system for this is a rating system of from 1 to 10 across 4 different criteria, which is difficulty, uniqueness, rewards, and X factor. So difficulty is just how difficult is the boss. Uniqueness is how unique is the enemy compared to every other enemy in the game, whether it be boss or a trash mob style enemy. How good are the rewards that you get, whether that be the amount of loot that you get or the specific loot that it drops. And then X factor is just that little je ne sais quoi, so to speak, of how just in general, how cool or, if there's something really special that gives a boss its flair or something like that. Maybe in the future.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, maybe in the future, maybe in a future game, like in Borderlands 4 or 5, maybe they just have a one-time boss or something like that that's voiced by someone ridiculous, and it would be that would be the X factor for that person. So just as an example.
Actually on the first version of this for Borderlands 1, we gave Baron Flint a 10 in X Factor because he had some of the best dialogue and voice acting in the entire fucking game.
Right.
So.
Right, absolutely. And then on the other side of things, we gave Bonehead a 2 in X Factor because he's essentially just a bandit. He's straight up just a bandit. But we gave him at least one additional point on top of that because he had a skull head.
Yeah, exactly. But but to compare apples to apples, Baron Flint had a 10, but so did Taylor Cobb. Taylor Cobb had a 10, because he was the only one to flip from being, a good guy to a bad guy. So that was gets a 10 in X Factor for that. So
yeah,
that kind of shit doesn't happen, very often. So it's X Factor, frankly, is pretty arbitrary and just kind of I feel like he gets this,
Yeah, exactly. So if you don't hear of someone on here, if you don't hear about a boss on here, they may not have made it on. And again, that's because this is our list and we were the ones that made it. If you want to bring something to our attention, Vault Hunters Pod at Twitter. So, get at us. Just let us know. But that being said, let's get into it. So how do you want to start this up? Do you want to start it or should I?
I'll start it. Let's start at the bottom. So we're starting at the bottom, then we're going to the top. We're not going to go over every single number over every single boss. So just because it's that'd be a lot of numbers to get into, and there'd just be numbers flying everywhere, and they're meaningless after a while.
Yeah, we're going to bring up a couple of numbers if we feel that they're important, though.
Yeah. So down here at the very bottom, Mr. Bony Pants Guy. 10. Total score 10 out of 40.
Yeah. So would not have passed in school. That is not a passing grade. No. So it's, I don't know. I think the big thing for us on that one was just it starts you off with a fight against a dragon and you're all oh yeah, this is so great. And you get into it and everything. And then it's well, surprise, you don't get to fight a dragon. And then you just fight this doofy looking skull man.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it doesn't drop any good loot, you know.
I mean, here's the thing. Half the points that we gave to Mr. Bony Pants Guy were in X Factor just because it's the only sunglasses, hair wearing, clothes wearing, Tink style skeleton in the game.
I don't remember if Mr. Bony Pants Guy actually makes any noise, but if he did, you would expect it to be yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Curse you, hey man.
Yeah, there you go. So Jeff, you take the next one.
So the next one that we have is Hurley. If you're I don't remember that at all, don't feel bad about it. So Hurley is just a boss that comes partway through Captain Scarlet's DLC, and again has its own splash screen and everything like that. It doesn't really do anything. It just kind of throws barrels at you. It's really not that difficult at all. It's essentially just a big loader, and that's it. Again, for X Factor on that one, we gave it a 1. For uniqueness, we gave it a 5 because there's just, there's not too many loaders that are bosses, but this style in particular, where it does kind of throw barrels at you, was kind of interesting. So, but overall, not super great. So again,
total score 10.
Total score 10. So Mr. Bony Pants Guy, Hurley, they both have a combined score of 20. So they tie for last place on there. We have a couple other ties, but we're getting there. So, Drew, what do we got next?
Yeah, so next we got Old Slappy.
Now, the funny thing about this is Drew kept on trying to like nudge this one up all the time, and I couldn't figure out why.
I genuinely don't know why. Maybe just because I like saying, "Oh, Slappy." Old Slappy's a big-ass thresher that you get to fight in the Outwash in the Highlands in Borderlands 2. It's the one that actually took Hammerlock's limbs, right?
His arms specifically, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a side quest. You gotta go kill old Slappy. It's a big ass thresher, dude. It's a big ass water based thresher. I don't know. We gave it a total score of 14. 5 of that comes from rewards because of the striker. Has an increased chance to drop the striker, so that's decent.
Yeah. The striker is not a terrible gun, and especially if you have a consistent way to farm any kind of legendary weapon on, in any of that kind of scenario, then that's decent. And it's not a difficult fight or anything like that. So having a way to get the striker is not too bad. So mainly like old Slappy got another here to throw out another number, a 3 in uniqueness, because it's literally a thresher but bigger. If you took a picture of a thresher, grabbed a corner and just went to one diagonal direction, then you get old Slappy. Yeah. So again, the striker was really the only thing that helped this thing out. So it has a 50% additive crit bonus and a 15% multiplicative crit bonus. And it gives, it's got really good accuracy, minimal spread, everything like that. So overall, the striker itself is pretty decent for a weapon. So, works out pretty well. Yeah.
All right, Jeff, you're up.
So, next we have Motor Mama. So, Motor Mama, so we have a jump here. We went from Hurley and Mr. Bony Pants Guy being 10s, then up to Old Slappy being a 14, Motor Mama being a 15. Unfortunately, no drops. The X Factor is kind of a 4 on that one. The fight isn't really that difficult. Again, the thing is that Motor Mama kind of tries to do the same thing that Baron Flint did about talking to you and getting ready for the fight and everything, but it just doesn't feel the same in that regard. So the attempt is there. Now the cool thing is that it is one of the few bosses in Borderlands 2 that you actually fight that is in a vehicle, and that's actually pretty interesting. And the difficulty because of that can go up a little bit based on that factor too. So those were the main 2 areas where Motor Mama got her points, were uniqueness and difficulty. So yeah, it's again, no specific drops or anything like that, which is kind of a bummer. But what are you gonna do? That's where it is.
Yeah. Moving on. Next we have Wound Spike. The lowest possible, the lowest main boss from any of the DLCs or anything. Actually, lower than any of the Headhunter Pack bosses as well. That's pretty sad. Pretty sad. Wound Spike is the main story boss from Hammerlock's DLC. It's a Borok that has a jack mask on it. And a turret. It's nothing really special. Doesn't have an increased chance to drop anything. It's unique looking, and it's the end boss from that DLC.
No, it's not even it. It's not even the end boss from that DLC.
Oh right, yeah, you're right. My bad. But yeah, I mean, again, it gives a 7 in uniqueness just for being interesting. Yeah, it's a Borok, but at least it has a turret and a mask on it, so that's something. I genuinely, actually, truly don't have much more to say on Wound Spike.
Fair enough. All right, so I know that we're very early into this list, but I already feel like this was kind of one of the big shakeups that we were kind of... We kicked this next one around quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot.
The next one we have on our list coming in with a total score to match Wound Spike of a with a 16 is Knuckle Dragger. So, here's the interesting thing. With Knuckle Dragger, the uniqueness is a 1 because it's just a Bullymong. It's not even really any bigger than any other Bullymong that's in the game or anything like that. In fact, for some of them, it might be even smaller. It's literally just a Bullymong. It does Bullymong things, and that's it. So the difficulty, we gave it a 5 because it is the very first boss that you fight in the game, like the very, very first one. And so depending on where you're at with the game and how comfortable you are with it, it can either be a really easy fight or pretty difficult depending on how you have it. So it just depends on your knowledge of the game and what you're trying to do with it. The only saving grace that Knuckle Dragger really had was in the rewards, where it made up almost half of its points with a 7. Because for those that are unaware, Knuckle Dragger has a chance to drop the Hornet. And if anyone's ever heard me talk about it, you know that I will farm Knuckle Dragger to get the Hornets and then use that pretty much all the way to get to my double penetrating Unkempt Herald if I'm playing Borderlands 2, because it'll carry you that far.
Yep.
It's an amazing...
as long as you don't stop to farm, Boom Boom and Baron Flint, and like end up over leveling.
True. But even that only happens where in the things where the level scales with you.
Oh, so, right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, but so Knuckle Dragger overall, not terrible. Could have been a lot better, but from the perspective of a starting boss, not too bad. So that's kind of where it is with that. So yeah, again, the main idea was that it got a lot of its points from the rewards itself.
Okay, moving on. Next with a total score of 17 is Dukino's mom. Dukino's mom gets the highest marks in difficulty with an 8. Uniqueness, terrible. Just awful. Literally just a big ass skag. Gets a 1. Gets a 1.
Yeah.
So, cool thing about Dukino's mom though, made up a little bit of ground because in the loot category, in the rewards category, because they drop the Mongol, so that's a pretty decent rocket launcher. So that's where Dukino's mom got some more points, but still fairly low on the list with 17 out of 40 total points.
Yeah. So, moving up a little bit on the list, we move up 1 more point. Hooray. The interesting thing about our next one is, unlike Wound Spike, which Drew forgot about, this one actually is the first end boss to a DLC. So the next one we have up is Piston / Badassosaurus. Piston is not farmable, but Badassosaurus is. So the difficulty, we gave it a 5 because, again, depending on how you want to do it, it can be difficult, but it's not always. The main thing here was it got pretty middling, scores across the whole way, and so we gave it a 6 in X Factor though, mainly just because it is a giant metal T-Rex, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, the fight itself is not that interesting, though. So it's, I don't know, the fight itself is not that interesting. It's just in a big arena, and all it really drops for you is the slow hand, which, can be decent.
Sure.
But yeah. No, it's all right. So I kind of would have liked to have fought Piston a little more too in that, instead of maybe Badassosaurus Rex, or maybe doing the entire fight would have been fine, but it could have also been kind of a slog to do that as well. So
yeah,
again,
that's reasonable.
Design for the character, really cool, but they just slightly missed the mark on it, I feel like.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Okay. Coming up next, we tied at 18 total points is Scorch. You fight Scorch doing the cult mission there in the Frostburn Canyon. Scorch is, again, literally just a big ass spider ant. Always fire. So I mean, again, nothing super exciting. Got 7 points in rewards though because of the Hellfire. So that's
which can be good on almost anybody.
Almost anybody back then. back then, back in the day of the Hellfire being really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel bad, but like for real, like some of these, there's just genuinely not like you all know Scorch. You've all done this mission, presumably. If you haven't, go and do it. Go and do it.
Go and do it.
Go and get it. Yeah. I mean, really, like, not a super interesting fight.
Yeah,
you can't use incendiary weapons. I mean, you can, but it's
no.
if you want it to be more difficult.
Oh no, bro.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah. Along with that, I mean, if the most interesting thing about the fight, honestly, is. I mean, the most interesting thing about it is the story, and even the story's not that great. The guy's just like, oh, they started worshipping, a demigod Scorch, and you go and you're like, it's not a demigod, it's a fire ant. First of all,
yeah,
second,
big ass spider ant.
Yeah. Secondly, it's like there are some psychos there worshipping Scorch, and then Scorch kills him. It's like, I think it was meant to be like shocking or something weird like that. It's like, no, that's par for the course for spider ants.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been more interesting actually to do the opposite and have the psychos like fight alongside with it,
Yeah, that would have been actually way cooler.
Be like, oh shit, this spider ant is sentient and has embraced its role as a god to these people. Oh shit, this is much more scary.
Tens across the board.
Yeah, but instead it's just like blat. It just wipes them out. Oh man.
All right. Anyway, moving along, we probably have we kind of have the Jar Jar Binks of the Borderlands 2 bosses coming up here, which is the Waddle Gobbler.
The Waddle Gobbler!
Waddle Gobbler. So, first of all, the rewards from Waddle Gobbler are not great because it doesn't have any specific drops and it just does red chest things, which you guys all know about how red chests work in Borderlands 2. Spoilers, they're not great.
Yeah, so, not great.
Especially not when compared to like Borderlands 1 and mayhem levels in Borderlands 3 specifically. We did give it surprisingly, the thing can be semi-difficult as you go through it. It's kind of a pain to deal with just because of all the other stuff that goes along with it. Uniqueness, first of all, it is literally the only turkey in the game, so I mean there's that. So I feel like that's kind of the big thing. So, X Factor, the DLC was all right. Torg is the most entertaining part of it, as he should be. So really didn't do much for X Factor either. So that being said, Waddle Gobbler gets a 19 overall. So the first of a couple of 19s we have coming up here. So, Drew, what else we got for our next 19?
Yeah, so for our next 19 is Saturn. And Saturn got 10 points in difficulty. Literally over half their points in difficulty.
Now,
alone.
For some of you that are asking, why did you give 10 points difficulty? You got to keep in mind the frame of reference that we're working with is that we were trying to put ourselves in the perspective of first time fighting these bosses and everything, especially if you're like me and we're just rushing through the story and we're super underleveled for this fight. It was hard.
Hard.
Like not just hard even, but wicked hard.
Yeah, I mean, we're also like for difficulty here, we're also assuming you're not like doing some cheesy strats where you're like the shack strat, where you're like just chilling in the shack behind the building there and popping out. Like if you fight Saturn as intended and you're on level and you haven't farmed anything amazing, like it can be a really difficult fight. Pretty poor scores otherwise though. I mean, gets a 5 in rewards because you can get the hive. That's the other 2 scores are 2s. Like normally I wouldn't tell you all the scores for everything, but like it's a big loader and it's a pain in the ass and you don't even have to fight Saturn. You don't even have to. It's not even required, So
can't you just get on the elevator and go?
Yeah, I've done that many a time. Just sprinted right past it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of boss do you got that you don't even got to fight?
Right. Has a splash screen and everything. not required to kill.
Neat.
Yeah, so 19 total points for Saturn, the big loader. Saturn, the big RPG loader.
Perfect. All right. Going along with that, we have our last 19 of the bunch, so we're almost to the halfway point here. We have Doc Mercy. If you've heard us talk about enemies that are, or bosses that are exactly like other enemies, you're probably going to find out where we're going with this. So
surprise.
Yeah, surprise. So Doc Mercy's difficulty, he's not difficult, but it's just one of those things where if you catch him at the wrong moment, he can really make your day rough times.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know how many times I've bounced like something off of a shield and killed myself. Or, you know, if I get a little too close to him and he just like wallopes me with that shield. But yeah, so Doc Mercy difficulty did get the highest, followed by rewards, though. That was the main thing, is that you could get the infinity from it. And again, the infinity works very well with so many different characters. It works well with Zero, and it's depending on the elements, it can work well with, you know, Krieg or with Maya, you know, things like that. So it has potential to do really, really well, but you kind of have to build around it a little bit too. So that's why it's not higher. But we did also give it a very low ranking for X Factor, just because the mission that you have to finish before you can even start farming him is balls.
It just sucks.
It does, man. Having to use that stupid gun that he has to try and kill dudes, and it's like, hey, guess what? We're going to introduce you to this cool new E-Tech class, you know, of weapon. Here's literally the worst E-Tech weapon in the game for it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, definitely.
So that's what's up with that. Anyway, overall, that being said, Doc Mercy gets a 19. Drew, who we got next?
Next, we have The Sorcerer's Daughter from the Tiny Tina DLC. It's essentially Angel mixed with a spider. Fucking horrifying.
It really is.
Nothing, I mean, got a 7 in uniqueness because, you know, that's, I mean, it could have been higher but I guess not. That's like peak score for that, because
it's still technically a reused character.
Right. It's like, be like, all right, well, it's not an original thing completely. It is part spider and part angel, you know, and they just mushed them together.
Yeah, it's the Reese's peanut butter cup of Borderlands 2. And it's like, hey, guess what? I got a Reese's peanut butter cup. And it's like, thanks. You just saved me the trouble of putting chocolate and peanut butter together. It's like, yeah, but this is new and unique. It's like, no, everyone knows that both those things are good separately. So why wouldn't they be good together? Yeah,
definitely. Well, I could think of many things that are good separately but are not great together.
Oh yeah, I'd name several right now.
Nope. So total score 21. Rewards: the Sorcerer's Daughter can drop the Slaga and the Varuk.
Slag is good. Varuk is a gun.
Yeah, there you go. That's a really good way to put it. The fight's kind of interesting. The Sorcerer's Daughter does also have a massive fucking bow. That's cool. I don't know. It's weird. I don't like having to kill Angel again. That's not fun.
Specifically when she's like all mad at you and stuff now this time.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's how I feel about that one. Sorcerer's Daughter. That's pretty much it. Total score 21. Moving on.
So the next one we have is another one from one of the Headhunter packs. We have the Happy Couple. So really interesting thing here. All right. So here's how this worked. It wasn't what brought their score up. It was what brought their score down was the interesting part of this. For difficulty, they ranked pretty highly just because you have to kill both of them within a certain time of each other to make this work. And the other part of it was that the uniqueness for them is really interesting because you don't really have any other tandem bosses that kind of work that way, where it's like, oh, you have, you know, this one, like, it's just interesting the way it works. As far as
because it's like if in Borderlands 3 you had to kill Tom and Zom, whatever, within like 10 seconds of each other.
Yeah.
Like that makes that fight much more difficult and interesting.
Right. Yep, absolutely. So, you know what we should have said this at the beginning of the episode. If anyone was unaware, this does not count raid bosses as well. We probably should have talked about that.
Yeah, because they would just score 10s nearly across the board.
Right. So no raid bosses. All right, now go back and start this episode over and listen from the beginning again. It makes a lot more sense. Anyway, so yeah, happy couple.
Welcome to A Vault Hunter's Guide to the Borderlands.
Woo. Anyway, so the big thing about the happy couple was we did not give them anything in rewards just because there's not much to get from them.
Yeah, they drop some loot.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about them. They could have been a lot cooler had they had something specific to drop. I would have liked to have possibly seen a mechanic where maybe each of them had their own drop, and then if you kill them in a specific way or something like that, then you get something like specific that drops when you kill the both of them together or something like that.
That would have been sick. You know what would be fun? You, from the two of them, okay?
Yeah.
From like each one individually, one drops like a slag shotgun and the other one drops like a random elemental shotgun that's also legendary. But then like you kill them together and it's like a double barreled shotgun, but one barrel is slag and the other one's the other element.
Oh, that would have been super cool. That would have been dope.
Right?
That's all yours, Gearbox.
That's
Once again,
right. Gearbox, if I don't see that in a DLC for Borderlands 3 or in Borderlands 4, I'm protesting. I'm boycotting everything.
Once again, free 99.
Free 99, bro. All we ask for is 18% of all profits.
That's a lot of percent.
It is.
I don't even think George Lucas makes that much of Star Wars.
Yeah. Moving on with a total score of 23 is Pumpkin Kingpin. Pumpkin Kingpin or Pumpkin.
Kingpin.
Yeah, there we go. It's a boss from TK Baja's Bloody Harvest, the Headhunter pack there. It's the final boss of the DLC. You can get his head. It's vines and pumpkins, so slightly interesting, but like, so I mean, you end up with a 7 in difficulty, a 9 in uniqueness, because it is. You definitely don't see it anywhere else in Borderlands. But there's no. What really hurt it was rewards. There's like nothing cool other than the pumpkin head, which whatever. I feel bad because like I feel like a lot like we're in the underwhelming half of this, so there's nothing to really be excited about. Pumpkin Kingpin is not a very good boss. Did not do very well. That's why they're in the middle of the pack. I have nothing more to say on the matter.
I have no strong opinions one way or the other.
Yeah.
All right. So getting up there, we have, it's kind of interesting that these all kind of group together like this. I didn't even realize this. So we have Happy Couple, then Pumpkin Kingpin, and immediately after that, we have Tinder Snowflake. So Tinder Snowflake, difficulty, again, if you're not using any kind of cheesy strats or anything, can be kind of difficult. And
like hiding back behind the scaffolding for the bridge, for the dock thing out there.
Right, yeah. So it can be kind of difficult. Mainly the difficulty comes from the projectiles and from the little mini snowmen that pop up and everything. The uniqueness is right up there, similar with Pumpkin Kingpin and the Happy Couple. We actually gave this one a 10 because where else other than this do you see, you know, a snowman boss in a first-person action RPG looter shooter style game that calls you a dick after you beat him? You know?
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, we could have given it a lower score in uniqueness because there are other mobs in that Headhunter pack that are of similar style, but we didn't. So there, shut up.
Yeah, unfortunately, once again for rewards, it gets a 1 because it's all random at that point. Yeah, we know that random loot is random anyway, but that's kind of the main thing is that at least for this, you don't have any specific drops that he gives you, and you get the train that comes out. That's cool and everything, but again, there's nothing specific that you're looking to get out of that. It's just kind of roll the dice and hope for the best. So that is what gives Tinder Snowflake an overall score of a 24. Something that he actually shares with quite a few others. So, Drew, do you want to take us to the next one?
Yeah, so the next one we've got is Bloodwing / Son of Mothrak. Also came in at 24 points, 7 in difficulty, and 10 in X Factor. 10!
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It is good. I mean, and again, the reason, so X Factor, okay, frankly, all these numbers, totally subjective. X Factor,
Yeah.
especially subjective. But we give it a 10 because it's your first time playing through, it's brutal to have to kill Bloodwing. Like, it sucks. Mm-hmm. It really is not a good time. That's one of the most evil things that Jack can do is like make you kill, one of your pal's pets, Mm-hmm. That's kind of where the 10 and X Factor comes from there. Pretty good fight too, really, really interesting and definitely not the easiest fight. Also, Bloodwing / Son of Mothrak can drop the Skull Masher, so that's pretty decent.
Hell yeah.
Pretty decent, but that's like the main thing that they can drop. So, they get a 6 in that category, ends up with a total score of 24.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kudos to you, Son of Mothrak. I feel like we're on the opposite side of the we're over the hump now,
Right. So going along with that, the next one we have, also with a total score of 24, is Captain Flint. So Captain Flint, mainly where they got most of the points was actually in difficulty, with higher than average scores in uniqueness and X Factor, and then the rewards kind of brought them down a little bit. I know that seems kind of weird, but let's get into it. So the main thing is that the difficulty has always kind of been there with Captain Flint, whether it's first playthrough, second playthrough, whatever, just because of how the fight starts with Captain Flint super far away. If you're not using cheese strats where you snipe him from way far away first, because we all know that trick. The fact that he's able to reflect bullets back at you, the fire that he shoots up, him using the anchor and everything like that. Overall, it can be a pretty brutal fight. He does have some interesting drops that he has, but let's be honest, if you're looking for a fire weapon, no one's ever really looking for Flint's tinderbox. The only time you're ever really doing that is maybe if you're looking for, if you're doing like Bandit Allegiance Krieg or something like that. That would probably be about it. And then even the Thunderball Fist, which can be good, you really have to work to bring out its full potential with another character. The shot patterns for both those guns are kind of all over the place, and to make them work is kind of weird. So for those reasons, the rewards honestly kind of brought Captain Flint down. Now, if Captain Flint had dropped the Hellfire and maybe, let's say, I don't know, some other shock weapon. I'm blanking right now on anything from the game that's a solid shock weapon. But something like that.
Brainstormer?
That's not in Borderlands 2, but sure. So hypothetically, if something like that, he probably would have been within the top quarter of the list, I would say.
Yeah, there you go.
So, but he didn't. So he's a 24. Anyway, so Drew, who we got next for our final number 24?
So next we got Midgemong. Midgemong is, of course, the horrifying hybrid of a bullymong and a midget. It's terrifying
and amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like, that's another one of those things where if you were going to show Borderlands 2 to somebody, be like, all right, this is a typical mission in Borderlands 2. You go and kill this mutant thing, and like it's part bullymong and part midget, and it's pretty fun. I genuinely pretty score of 9 in uniqueness, because it is one of the few like hybrid creatures other than
Spyco,
Sorcerer's Daughter.
Oh
is
yeah,
what I was gonna say.
Yeah, Spyco's in there too. Spyco didn't make the list. You know why? You know what you did, Spyco.
Psh. That's all I got for Spyco. Is just psh.
I'm not even going to clarify that. You just figure it out.
Yeah. Midgemong does drop the Kerblaster, which is cool if you're playing Explosive Axton and literally nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, Explosive Krieg too is like,
There's better things.
There are better things.
Hey, you know what? My first time that I got a Kerblaster, you were talking earlier about Captain Flint. I got a Kerblaster once, like one of my very first times playing BL2, and then took it to kill Captain Flint, not Captain Flint, Doc Mercy, and bounced those fucking things right off that shield. Did not go well.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. It's pretty funny. I feel I remember that.
Yeah, total score of 24 for Midgemong.
All right. So, moving on up to the next number we have. So, kind of an interesting one here. So, the biggest thing for this next one, this one was all over the place.
Yeah.
So, the next one that we have is Uranus, otherwise known as not Saturn.
Uranus.
Also Uranus. So, again, this boss, all over the place. 2 10s. A 2 and a 3. So it got a 10 in difficulty and rewards, and then a 2 in uniqueness and a 3 in X Factor. So difficulty, Uranus can be pretty tough.
So childish. I love it.
I know, right? So it can be a really difficult boss fight if you're not hiding out in like the little cave beforehand in the doorway. Lots of ads, not really many other places to hide otherwise. Lots of big area of effect things. So really a pretty difficult fight. And the rewards. Okay. Dude, you want to talk about rewards? So we have a note here about the loot that each one of these bosses drops. Mm-hmm. And there's this one says yes plus Hornet and Electric Chair. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the big thing about it. Has dedicated drops for the Hornet and the Electric Chair, and has literally every other legendary in its loot pool, just not as high.
Yeah.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
So,
and quick thing for anybody who's only played Borderlands 3, like, it didn't used to be like this. Like, it used to be that legendary drops were significantly more difficult to come by. And you're going to see weird stuff when it comes to our loot scores on here, because if they drop one thing and it's a really good thing, they got a good score. If they drop like a few things and they're all decent, then they actually got a typically kind of lower score, because it diversifies the loot pool too much. It makes it a little bit more difficult to get what you're looking for. But then if they drop fucking everything like Uranus does, then the score is like off the charts for the loot. So it's a parabola. So it's a bell curve if you look at the scores in relation to the loot. So So
the interesting thing is there's only one other person that we gave a 10 to in rewards, or one other boss, I should say, and it's the same kind of thing. So specifically, if we were to have like this knob goes to 11 type of thing, I would probably give it to. I'd give that knob to Uranus.
Oh my god.
But I'm proud of that. That's where I peaked as a content creator. Just that.
You should be. This is one of the rare moments where I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna show it to my wife and be like, babe, you gotta hear what Jeff said on the episode. This is fucking great.
All right, so not only does he have just everything in their loot pool, but also there are still specific drops. So you can look for whatever you want there. But if you're looking for some specific things, you can do that too. It's astounding, honestly. So again, all over the place with Uranus. But
Jesus Christ.
anyway, so that's why they end up with a score of 25. We also have a score of 25 from Drew.
From Sir Hammerlock's Big Game Hunt is Jackenstein. Jackenstein? Whatever. Actually, I'm a little...
The Jackenstein Bears.
Yeah. I'm a little confused as to why we only gave Jackenstein a 6 in uniqueness.
Because it still is just like a Bullymong, just with like robotic arms and a jack mask.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. Anyways, so Jackenstein has a score of 25, 10 in difficulty, and kind of middling scores the rest of the way. Jackenstein can drop the yellow jacket, so that's okay. Not as good as the Hornet, but whatever.
Yeah,
It's the BBEG of that DLC, which is probably one of my least favorite DLCs.
Yeah.
A little surprised that they made it into like the top third here. So
the main thing was we gave it a lot in difficulty, just because their difficulty is pretty much just the fact that they're resistant to all forms of damage, and that so that goes for all elements as well as explosive. And there's only certain spots where you can actually hit them and do damage. In fact, there are sometimes if you're doing certain allegiance runs that this boss basically becomes unbeatable. So it doesn't necessarily make it good, but since we decided to make difficulty one of the factors, then that's where it is.
Yep.
Can't be a boss if you're not difficult. So
yeah, absolutely true.
That's why there's literally not a single boss on here that got a 1 in difficulty. So,
although if we were going to give any of them a 1, I guess it'd be Mr. Bonypants guy because he's at a 2.
Yep, that is accurate. And Mr. Bonypants guy is the only 2. So
yeah,
that evens out. So Drew, anything else on Jackenstein?
No.
All right. Fair enough. Moving right along. Next, we're getting into the nitty gritty now. So next up, with another score of 25, we have Wilhelm. So once again, Wilhelm is kind of similar to Not Saturn in how their scores panned out. So Wilhelm had high scores in difficulty and uniqueness, and was really brought down by rewards. So specifically, the main thing is you don't see another boss like Wilhelm in the game. You do have some of the workers, some of the Hyperion workers and whatever that are kind of similar, but not to this scale. And especially after playing through the pre-sequel, it really gives a lot more gravity to the situation. Not to mention that you feel good about defeating Wilhelm the first time, with everyone saying, "Oh, you defeated Wilhelm. Handsome Jack doesn't stand a chance," or whatever. All that kind of stuff. It really does feel good. So the big thing, honestly, is that their rewards do more harm than good, and that's not even a joke. That's straight up what it is. Got a 2 in rewards because the 2 things they give you are the Rolling Thunder, which is really only good for killing yourself with, and the other one being the Logan's gun, which the Logan's gun, honestly, straight up worthless unless all you're looking to do is reload rocket launcher ammo, which, even then you still have to get most likely a sham because you're not going to want to do it with any other lower, absorb shield or anything like that. Right. And even if you're doing that, that's highly specific. Not to mention that that's probably a glitch anyway.
Yeah, really.
So anyway, so going along, that is why Wilhelm gets a 25. Moving up into from the mid-20s to the high 20s. Drew, who do we got next?
Next, we got Nisha, the Lawbringer.
Nice. Boo, boo, boo.
So Nisha has 3 7s. Good for Nisha. 7 difficulty, uniqueness, and rewards. 6 in X Factor, mainly because, like, she was kind of drummed up as, like, the whole time you're in Lynchwood, all you hear is Deputy Winger be like, hey, the sheriff's a real fucking bitch. So, like, I would have loved to have had that. Like, the Deputy Winger goes into a lot more depth about Nisha. The sheriff, blah blah blah, like, has specific rules about this and that. I'm just trying to keep you people safe and all this other bullshit, right? I just really would have liked one Deputy Winger PA announcement, be like, in case I hadn't made it clear, this sheriff's a real fucking bitch. So just thought I'd put that out there. Deputy Winger out. That'd have been great.
It'd be fantastic.
It does give you the feeling of like an Old West shootout. I dig Nisha. Also, she drops the sheriff's badge, and you can get the deputy's badge from Winger. So good stuff. It can be pretty decent. It can be worth it. I'm sorry about that. That's my dog, but take care of her in a second.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, Nisha gets a total score of 27. So not amazing, but still pretty solid. Pretty solid little boss.
Yeah.
Also, again, killing her, if you've played the pre-sequel, there's the weight of knowing that you killed a playable character. How dare you?
You monster.
Yeah. Jeff, take it away with our next one.
All right. So the next one that we have is actually the Gold Golem. So this is a boss that you fight in the Tiny Tina DLC. Again, there are some other golems in the game, but this one is... this one you kind of let level up, and it's a really interesting mechanic that you have with that. So we did give it an 8 in difficulty because of that, and this is the first one that had kind of some really decent scores all the way around. So 8 in difficulty, 7 in uniqueness, 5 in rewards, and 7 in X Factor. That was kind of the other thing, is that this one probably would have been a little bit worse had it not been for some of the rewards that you do get for it. It has a chance to drop the Deliverance, the Infinity, and Sledge's Shotgun. The Infinity being my personal favorite out of that, but the Sledge's Shotgun and the Deliverance both being usable for other aspects of it. So again, really kind of a unique enemy, which is where it got most of its points from, being in difficulty and uniqueness. So there's just nothing quite like it in the game. That being said, its attacks are just okay and everything like that. And it is still kind of borrowing from some other aspects of, like Tolkienian style lore and everything like that, or even older than that, I guess. I guess there's been legends about golems for centuries. So
yeah, definitely.
So
I do think it's funny that like Gold Golem's number 6 on the list, and I'm sure that like if somebody just saw the rankings without like seeing any of the numbers or anything, they'd be like, Gold Golem at 6? Fucking what?
Yeah,
what
it's true.
Doing? But
again, totally arbitrary, and it's our list, so suck it.
Suck it!
All right, Drew, who else do we have? Getting into not quite the... Well, this is the top 5 now. So, Drew, number 5.
Number 5 on the list is the Handsome Sorcerer, the final boss of Tiny Tina's DLC. It's Jack in a hat and cloak and staff. That's fun.
Yep. that is why, well, yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and let you tell it. That's why for uniqueness it got
Yeah, that's why for uniqueness the Handsome Sorcerer got a 6.
Because it's like Jack, but one better.
Yeah, there we go. That's about right. It's the Handsome Sorcerer is fairly difficult. Comes out at an 8. Got most of their points at a 9 in rewards, because the Handsome Sorcerer can drop everything the Warrior can, which is pretty decent, but then can also drop the specific grenade mods that you can get in the DLC. I can't remember the name. Oh, the magic missiles and
chain lightning, all that kind of good stuff.
Love the chain. So that's pretty sick. Pretty decent fight. You know that it's Jack pretty much the whole time. Very, very shortly into the thing, so it's Jack is not on this list because you can't farm Jack, and Jack is not a real fight, not a real boss fight.
Right.
But like, if they were, it would be worse than the Handsome Sorcerer, because the Handsome Sorcerer is Jack, but better.
That is accurate. It's a more fun and engaging fight as well. Can be a bit of a slog, but still overall more fun.
Yeah, total score 28. Not bad. That's like C+ territory-ish.
Right.
So, yeah. I feel solid on the Handsome Sorcerer. I like it. Fun fight. Good times. I like the Handsome Sorcerer. Moving on.
All right, moving on to number 4 on our list. This one was kind of a surprise too. Just for the record, we kind of went through, we compiled all the bosses, we did all the numbers, and then we just added them together. That was how we did it. And then we saw what that turned into. It's like, oh wow, okay. So
interesting.
So that being said, next up on our list is Boom Boom, or as myself and my wife like to call them, Boom Boom.
Boom Boom.
Because
one's with an EW, damn it.
It is.
It's pronounced differently.
Yeah, Boom. So, true fact. Anyway, so Boom Boom got a 6 for difficulty because, again, the fight can be difficult, but it's usually not. It's pretty early boss fight, so you're pretty okay with it most of the time. It's the second boss fight in the game after Knuckle Dragger. So generally not too difficult, but having multiple enemies to have to focus on can make it difficult. And especially if you're in like a really hard difficulty and if you're not watching yourself, one shot from, was it Big Bertha?
Big Bertha.
Yeah, Big Bertha will just, mess up your day. That being said, most of Boom Boom's points came from uniqueness because, again, it's one of the only double boss fights that you see in the game. Not only is it that, but you have one that's trying to attack you, one that's on a giant gun, so you kill the giant gun, and then both of them are on the ground trying to kill you. Along with the fact that it does also drop the bonus package, which is a pretty decent starting grenade mod. Overall, it's pretty good. So, Boom Boom also ranked pretty highly as far as X Factor goes. So no complaints here. We like Boom Boom. You get decent decent grenade mod from it. It's a decent little fight. It never feels like a slog. It's usually always entertaining. Plus it does give you that chance for legendary twice, which is neat.
Yeah, I also just like, I don't know, just like the over-the-topness of Boom Boom. So
yeah, correct.
That's why they give a 7 in X Factor.
Correct. So, all right, Drew, are you ready to really shake this list up with our last 3 here?
Yep, absolutely. Number 3. It is the Warrior.
What? But guys, your big bad evil guy from the first game was number 1 on there. Why isn't the Warrior the number 1 on here?
The Warrior's not as good as the Destroyer comparatively. That's why I do the math.
Oh, snap. Wrecked.
All right, so the Warrior gets a 10 in uniqueness because there's literally nothing like it. If you had to describe it, it'd be like a lava golem or something from D&D or whatever. You do get an 8 in rewards because the Warrior can drop the Flacker, the Volcano, the Conference Call, the Impaler, the Leech. Pretty decent. Not exceptionally difficult though. Shoot the chest plates. Keep popping them chest afterwards. That's really about it. You take a lady fist in there and do some crit damage, and you'll be all right. So total score of 29 for the Warrior. just a little underwhelming as far as an end boss. Like, I don't know about you, but like, I don't feel the first time that I had to fight the Destroyer in Borderlands 2 or in Borderlands 1, like I was more, nervous about the fight. Yeah. I was like, oh shit, like, but when it was the warrior, I'm like, for some reason this thing doesn't look so tough. And spoilers, I guess, even less so for Tyreen in Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's merged with the Destroyer, I'm like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yeah. But yeah, decent score overall. Total score 29 for the warrior. You always want your the end boss to be at the top of the list, but sometimes it just doesn't happen. And this is one of those times. Sad about it.
It is sad. And like you said, the X Factor is where it really brought it down. That was the really thing that really hurt it, just because you don't feel that gravity from this fight when you're doing it. So, fun fact that I do want to tell real quick, and my wife's going to kill me for this, but you know what?
She's bad at platforming?
No, she is bad at platforming though.
Right.
That being said, this is worth it for the memes. So anyway, so the very first time we did this fight, again, we were rushing through the story. This was the first weekend that the game had come out already, and we're just like, we're just flying through the story, everything like that. And two things I'll never forget that happened in my first playthrough. I got a legendary from the slot machines, which blew my mind.
Have you ever since then?
No, never. Not once. So funny. It was a volcano that I was like, that unfortunately I like never really got the chance to properly use. Anyway, secondly, we were going and we were doing the warrior fight, and she at one point ran to the back of the arena to pick something up. I want to say she was going to pick up some ammo or something like that. She was going to pick up something, and it's the same button that you use to get out of the doorway in the arena. And you could just leave that fight. So we were 15, 20 minutes into this fight and, nearly killed the thing. And she just took us somewhere else. And I was really confused at first. And then I got real mad.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's really funny.
So then we spent like another, 20 minutes doing the fight again.
Yes.
Got a conference call from it though. So I was like, all right, that's fine. Anyway.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, I've got the number 2 spot here. And number 2 comes in with, again, very surprising, Cassius.
Yep.
So,
Cassius from the Commander Lilith DLC.
Yep, correct. Yep. And so, Tales from the Borderlands getting some representation here. Crazy stuff. So, man, Cassius is just such a great boss. This was the other one that we had where the loot was just yes, because once again, Cassius has like everything in his loot pool. So rewards on that are a 10. So again, big bell curve with that. This is on the other side of the bell curve. The difficulty can be pretty difficult. So, good numbers there. And honestly, for uniqueness and X Factor, I gave it a lot as well. It's already an established character that that we like and that actually helped us quite a bit in other stuff that we were doing, and that you can even recruit onto your team at the end of Tales from the Borderlands. So, and then the other big thing is, again, just, the uniqueness of the fight and, the kind of creature that he turns into and everything like that. Fantastic boss fight all around, really solid. Comes out with a total score of 33. So
Dirty Tree.
So yeah, great boss fight. Great loot. I'm a fan, but it does not quite get to our number 1. Drew, what is our number 1?
Drum roll, please. It's the Bunker. It's the BNK3R. Congrats to you, Bunker. You did it. You're the winner.
Best.
All right.
No. Copyright strike.
So, Bunker gets an 8 in difficulty. That has an asterisk next to it because if you're using Boar or if you're using the cheesy rocket launcher strats just chilling underneath where the vending machines are, it's significantly easier than that. But other than that, like if you're killing the bunker the way that it's intended, it's around an 8. Uniqueness 10. Fucking 10. There's nothing like it. There's literally nothing like it anywhere else in any of the games. I've never seen an enemy like the bunker before.
Yeah.
It's not even like a mech like you would see in it's part of the building that turns into a thing that kills you. Like,
Right, correct.
That's fucking crazy. Rewards get an 8 because the bitch and the sham, totally good. Also that one head, so woo.
Yeah.
X Factor 10 because again, like your first time playing through it, you don't expect the building to come alive and start trying to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw what the bunker was, and I thought it was like, all right, I'm going to fight some boss here, and it's going to open up, and I'm going to go inside of it, or whatever, something like that, you know? So, and turns out, nope. And the presentation of it was perfect, too. It's like, you know, because I'm pretty sure I've got that down. It's like, do you really think I'd protect Angel with nothing more than, you know, some bots and a couple of flimsy turrets? You know, you're not at the bunker. The bunker isn't a place. You know, and then it like opens up and it does its whole thing, everything like that. And it's got that super like deep, super processed voice where you don't even know what it's saying, but you just know it's mad at you.
Yeah. Just like most of the music I listen to.
Right? Exactly. Perfect. So, yeah, there really hasn't been an enemy similar to Bunker, and I don't expect that there will be again. So it's just a fantastic boss fight. Not to mention that you're like, well, wait a minute, you've only got 2 items. Yes, okay. The bitch and the sham are both fantastic pieces of gear, and the fact that there's just the 2 of them make them still relatively easy to get when you're farming. So it's great because the difficulty is there if you want to be. However, if you're going to go farm it, there's easy enough ways to get the loot that you want out of it. Overall, that's why it's our number 1. And here's the thing. That's still with a score of 36. So, you know, nothing on this list got like 10s all the way across the board. I think that's the important thing.
Yeah. What would Cromrax get it? Would Hyperius? Would what's his name? Pyro Pete?
I think that'll have to be one for another day. I think at some point we'll just have to do an entire
raid bosses. Yeah,
just raid bosses throughout the entire series.
That'll be sick. And we can include like Wotan and Scourge and that'll be sick.
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking forward to that episode. So I'm assuming that one of those will get a 10 out of 10 at some point.
Oh, you mean like like all
like a 40 out of 40? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because we're going to keep using the same criteria, so that way we can compare them all. I wonder if we can, if we compare these, the Destroyer beats out the Bunker by 1 point.
Really?
Yeah, because we gave the Destroyer a 10 in uniqueness, rewards, and X Factor. So, and 7 in difficulty.
So the interesting thing about that, then, going back and looking at it as well, is the gap between the top ones is a little bit bigger here, though, because you'll remember that number 3 we got a or number 2 for Borderlands 1. We gave Skagzilla a 32 and the Destroyer 37. So that's a 5-point jump right there. That's huge. And here's the interesting thing too, is that with the uniqueness is actually there for Skagzilla as opposed to, having it for Dukino's mom. And I think the main thing is that, while the uniqueness was there, the X Factor definitely was not. So the rewards are really good just because you get a ton of loot from Skagzilla, and the uniqueness is there because, it's a giant Skag. However, it's massive. Secondly, it also has like the crazy different attacks that it does, like the laser beam and everything like that.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is like the laser beam gave it high scores there and stuff. So really interesting.
That being said, the highest and the lowest were still on Borderlands 1. Helob and Widowmaker still got 7s on the Borderlands 1. So
yeah, and Borderlands, that was different though because you couldn't farm stuff per se in Borderlands 1, so
true.
Had different criteria for bosses. So anyways, that's the list. Good times. So again, we'll just the top 5 here from 5 to 1. Handsome Sorcerer, Boom Boom, The Warrior, Cassius, and BNK3R. Congrats to you. Yeah. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for us. Let's go ahead and end it how we always do with Going, Gun.
What are we doing going, gun on today, Drew?
So, today's Going, Gun is on the Sandhawk.
Nice. Which version of the Sandhawk are we going with?
We're going with Borderlands 2 Sandhawk.
Really?
Yeah, we is.
Nice.
So, the Sandhawk is a unique doll submachine gun that you get in the Captain Scarlet DLC. It can come in shock, incendiary, corrosive, slag, or none. Pretty good little weapon. Like one of the top weapons in Borderlands 2. They should have kept it an SMG in Borderlands 3 and just made
Agreed.
it an SM. Like if they left it there and kept the damage around the same ballpark, it would have been great. That would have been fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So again, it works very much the same way. If you've ever used the sniper rifle version in Borderlands 3, has like 8 projectiles that it shoots out. It does consume 3 rounds to do that. They are slow moving, so you definitely want to try and get the flying prefix on that if you can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So, however, if you're using this on either Maya or Zero, they both have skills that can help with projectile speed. So that kind of helps offset it as well right there. So, kind of an interesting thing. One of the other interesting things is that if you're using this with Gage, so with her low accuracy and everything like that, the group will not split apart, and every cluster will actually behave like a single bullet.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, super weird. So, but yeah, no, it's a fun weapon. I love using it, particularly because I love playing as Maya and as Zero, so I get a lot of use out of that. It's just a solid.
Just that noise of getting Boar with a Sandhawk is just ridiculous. Yeah. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like, I don't know. It's amazing. It stirs something in me when I hear it.
It sounds like all right. So I want you to think of it this way. This is what it sounds like. If you've ever grinded gears on a vehicle while also using a blender and also playing the cheesy sound effect of like someone getting hit in like a movie or something, like the schmack kind of sound rapidly. If you do all 3 of those things at the same time, that's what it sounds like. Yeah,
there you go. But yeah, that's the Sandhawk. Possibly the best SMG in Borderlands 2. Is there something I'm missing?
I mean, it's definitely up there, but that's a list for another day.
Right? It's definitely like top 5 easily.
Yep. Absolutely.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Bird-shaped fucking wings. It's just cool. It's cool as shit. It's powerful. It's fun. It's a mission reward, so it's super easy to get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just make sure that you either dashboard farm or something along those lines so that you can get the specific one you want.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's going to wrap it up for us this week. Next time, we're going to be talking to you together from the same place. And we're going to be talking about Bounty of Blood, the Feastful of Redemption.
I'm so excited for that.
Please don't ask me what kind of accent that is. I have no fucking clue. It's like a bad German accent or something.
It's like what Bela Lugosi did, but like worse.
It's garbage European accent. That's all it is. All right, that's pretty much it. We'll talk to you next time. Good luck and good drops.
Bye.